Okay, Sister Wives, Season 7, Episode 5, The Dress Doesn't Fit. And it's, sorry, Pocket. So we're continuing our marathon of Sister Wives, recapping. Baby's right here. He's going to go to bed in a few minutes. Okay, so we open up with Robin and Christine shopping. And they're shopping, they're buying stuff, something about gypsy, bohemian style, something for a get-together.
Just like the last episode, this one blows.
Okay. I actually have more opinions on this one, though. What made me mad was when Cody said that when the wives set aside their petty jealousies, everyone gets along. And I just want to reach through the screen and, like, shake him because he takes zero responsibility that some of the problems with the wives could be his fault. And it's been like long enough to where, oh, he's snoring.
I know.
This whole thing's going on where, you know, like he would favor one wife or he'd say rude things, but it really comes down to them being petty jealous. And of course, anyone who's not a polygamist or who feels really strong about monogamy doesn't see it as petty jealousy. You see it as being the fact that their affection expected to be that their affection is 100% on this one man, and then he gets to split his affection. And maybe, in fact, even give it out unfairly to one or the other. So anyway, so I was like, oh gosh, I remember why I just can't stand this guy. And John's mom was here. She was just out of sight. And she was watching. She goes, that guy is such a turd. So I think it's a pretty universal opinion. So they order cookies for a party. Then McKelty and Tony announce their engagement.
Again.
Well, no, they asked the parents. This time they announced
I already
it.
heard about it.
Okay, so you don't care.
Damn right.
Don't cuss in front of the baby.
He doesn't know what I'm saying.
Okay, well, you gotta get that under control. So anyway, Janelle and they head to Montana. What was her thing? Oh, the only cute thing about the announcement of the engagement was that at some point, Aspen and Peyton, they were discussing, you know, the differences between Maddie and Caleb and McKelty and Tony, and Peyton was teasing Aspen about, oh, well, have you met the person? And I totally didn't know where he was going when he's like, you know, are you going to get married? And she's like, yeah, I guess at some point. And he's like, oh, so maybe have you met the person? And then it clicked that he was thinking of someone really specific. Hi, buddy. You want to say hello?
Oh, my mom is too loud.
Yeah, mom is too loud. Anyway, so they headed to Montana with the dress. Maddie's been losing weight. It is, I do have to admit, as cheesy as it is, when they talk about Maddie meeting Caleb and they show the pictures and all that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. And I like even teared up a little bit. I think it's really sweet. I think they're really well suited to each other. I'm glad that they're so happy together. Maddie was freaking out because Janelle, I guess, is really into fishing. And so she wanted to go fishing the morning of the wedding. And I'm kind of with Maddie where I'm like, we can't just focus for one day. Like, can't you do it the day before the wedding or a long time before the wedding? Like, really, she has to get up the morning of the wedding and do it? Like, that kind of annoyed me. Do you have anything to add, John?
Let them fish.
John, I would have killed you. What did you do the day of the wedding?
Woke up and showed up on time.
Good job. Good job. Oh, and the other thing that kind of got me was I admit I like blinked or something. They somehow were talking about not having enough kids, and they were teasing Mary about Mary not pulling her slack and now her share of the weight with the kids. Because she didn't have enough kids.
Talk about a dick move.
I know. And the thing is, okay, I will fully acknowledge they all said it as a joke. They meant it as a joke. Mary was in on the joke, the whole thing. I still cringed. I cringed. Maybe it's because John and I had problems having our little precious angel here. It took quite a few years. Maybe it's the fact that we know it was a storyline for several seasons about how desperately sad Mary was that she could never have more children. She was considering having Vitra. She was considering having Robin be a surrogate. Like all these different things. And so when they were like, even though I know it was a joke, I didn't think it was necessarily that funny.
Awful.
It was just totally cringeworthy for me to watch. And I was like, you know, that's just something maybe they should have just skipped.
to me, that's on par with rape jokes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you really don't want to get into classifying which is worse, but
yeah.
it's just we should just skip it.
Yeah.
You have to be like, oh, maybe if we just change that rape punchline a little bit. So, and that's about it. I guess next episode she gets married. They have they show her the dress and all, and I'm like, oh, I'm just getting married, so beautiful. So, anyway, I'm glad for all the commenters. It's so exciting to see people chatting about the season. And we will continue to get caught up.